Okay, so the first thing we're going to see is how to make a span of days event. It's quite easy. Just as any other event, we go to Add Edit. Inside our Dates tab, we're going to first add the date. We want to start the span of days. Let's say 14th in this case. It's an optional thing to click on All Day Event. You can, but you don't really need to. So the next thing you need to do is have an end date, say 18th, so it's going to last 4 days. We do want to group dates, and finally we want to set the recurring to daily. And once that's done, this will create a span of days event. The only other thing we need to remember is to set the the expiration date for the second day of the event. That way the event won't show beyond the first day on the calendar. To recap, we have it on our documentation here as well, so you can read how to add a span date. So first add date here, check all day event. If you want, group dates, then recurring info, and then finally this last step. Just to recap, if we go to our Pro Events list, I'm just going to show you what I mean. It's on the approval screen. For example, we had our event that was the 14th, and it was 4 days to the 18th, so we're going to expire it on the 15th. And that's how you would create a span of days event. Okay, so the next thing we're going to see is stacks and how they work. To get to stacks through your dashboard, you will see this block here. It says stacks and blocks, and then click on stacks. And we're going to have different kinds of stacks. These are global area stacks. These control the main footer items and the header nav. These are all controlled by us. And these are the ones you actually have access to. Each garrison has access to their own footer stack. So if we click on Kaiserslautern footer, for example, we will see that those are all their custom footer items. And these stacks work basically like pages. They're a bunch of blocks in there. Or in this case, there's just one. If you click on it, click on Edit, then we see it's basically just a content block with a bunch of bullets and links. And each of these links will be transformed into one of your footer items. So if you want to edit any of these links, you highlight just as you would any regular link, and then click on the link edit button, and then this link edit screen comes up, and you can insert another URL, change it, whatever. You can also make internal links by selecting them and then insert link to page. It would bring you to the sitemap, and then you can go to any specific page on the site. That's for internal links. To add a new one, you would just hit return right there, and then type in a new link. Select the word, just the word, not the other space, and then the link icon, and insert your URL. You could copy it from your web browser and just paste it in there. Then click insert, and then you'd see the link is created. So delete that, cancel here. So besides the footer stacks, there's also header stacks. Those are controlled by us. These are pure code, so that's why you guys don't have access to that. And next up we have the stacks for our generic or our MWR wide programs, basically CYS, ACS, hunting, fishing, sports, BOSS, Warrior Zone, Java, UTAP, VET. So each of these will have standardized content, and these are controlled by the region staff for each of these programs. So, for example, if we click on childcare, we'll see that these are the blocks that are included in all of our childcare pages throughout every garrison. And this is how they will manage them. They come in here, they change one of these, and then the changes go throughout the whole region. The same way, if you've already seen these Commander Cup stacks, you've probably seen them inserted already. So this is where Sarah Galen is actually controlling those. And then another cool thing about it is that you can also create your own stack. And this way, if you ever had the necessity of creating a block that has to be in more than one page, and you don't want to be modifying everywhere, just create a new stack here, and just contact me, and we can give you the right permissions for that stack, so that nobody else can access it, and then you can manage this content centrally. So you would just name it and then add. And your stack is created all the way down here. Inside each stack you can add blocks as you would on a page. So accordion content, even hours of operation, but I wouldn't do that, and so on. So once your stack is created, you can insert it into any page. I'm currently in the childcare page in K-Town, and I'm going to see the difference between a stack and a regular block. This is a stack right here. As you can see, it includes all the blocks I had in that stack, and it looks a bit different. Instead of having a red dotted line, it's got a black dotted line. So that's how you can tell once in edit mode that this is a stack versus a normal block here. To add a new stack, I can always add it the same way I add blocks. So add to info, and instead of add block, I go down here, add stack, and then I select my stack. For example, this one I just created new stack, and there are no blocks in the stack, so let's create one that does have. So let's say I'm going to add the U tab, and now I get two options: full stack or individual block. If you add an individual block, you're just going to extract one of the blocks from that stack, and it's going to become its own thing. And the only difference between this is that it won't retain the properties of a stack. So that means it will lose the ability to be centrally controlled or managed. So for the most part, we're going to be adding full stacks, and that way we know that we're going to keep their properties of a stack. I'll just show you what I mean by adding a block from the stack, from the same stack, and then I'll go individual and I'll just add this content block. And you can see it's a red dotted line and not a black one. So this creates its own instance, and this is a stack. So I'm just going to delete these. Stacks can be moved around as well as blocks, but we cannot insert blocks in between stacks. So be careful how you create the stacks. If you need to create more than one part or intertwine blocks between stacks, then you might want to create more than one stack. And I believe that would be the solution for that. Okay, that's how creating stacks. Okay, next part is something most of you have already been doing, but we hadn't covered it on the normal training. So we're going to see how to use the event picker and what the event picker is on the home page. So if you're on a home page and you click edit, just as you would on a facility page. You enter this edit mode, which many of you have already seen, but you will see that this is actually a block, and the name of that block is Event Picker. The way we initially added it was here and down, Add to Main, and then we click on Add Block, and we selected Event Picker, and immediately it takes us to the sitemap where we can actually search for an event as we would on a sitemap or on a search as well. So we can search for a specific event here. Let's see. Let's go for any ski. New Year's ski getaway that's old. Let's just go for one of these, for example. And then you'll see that it's selected. If you were to delete it or you made a mistake, just click on the trash can and then select it again. And then once we're done, click Add. And as you can see, it added here. You might notice that I just added a second event picker here. That's just because of the example I'm doing right now. So you see how I added it. But in any case, you could also add more main blocks, although we're not doing that at the moment. So that's basically how you use the event picker. Now below the event picker is the homepage queue of events. This has a maximum of 18, these 3 rows that you see here. And this 4th row is just for the queue, just for visualization. There's even more events below these. So if there were more events coming in chronological order, that's how they would appear. Now if we move one of these events, you can drag and drop them. Then you can manually set that event in a specific position, and then the intention of the functionality is that when you set that event in that specific point, all the other events would jump over that one and continue their chronological order. If you were not to do anything, they would just keep coming in as consecutive days. So from left to right, of course. And that's how you use the event queue. This last part is about a new feature on our file manager. It's a way to filter a search by extension type. So before we used to have a search where we would see every kind of result for, let's say, a CYS file, and we would see JPEGs and PDFs and Excel, everything all mixed up. But sometimes we just want to search for a specific file type. In this case, I want to do it by PDF, so I'm going to go into Add Filter, then Add Field Extensions here, and then I'm going to select PDF, and then I'm going to type in my keyword, for example CYS, and now I'm going to see only PDF files. And if I were to say JPEG, then it would only show me JPEG files. So that's pretty useful instead of having to go through a mixed bag of results. So cool new feature. And that's it for today, guys.